All right. I hope this thing working. We're victim to cell phone tower reception along the I-95 corridor. That the audio is okay. Anyone, come up on chat. Let me know audio's okay. Oh, there you guys are. I was looking in the wrong spot. Okay, good deal. Alrighty, let's kick this thing off. My lovely wife is driving. I'm riding shotgun. Page on my phone and go straight down the list. Before we get started, let you guys know that had a great vacation, good times. Did a little bit of work, did a whole lot of pleasure. Survived Disney over Christmas. Honestly, I do not recommend taking your family to Mouseland for the Christmas holidays. It was pretty crazy. If we did not have the timeshare available, that kind of constricted us to this week, I would not have done it. As far as efficiency of getting able to experience Disney for your kids, it's just a little much around the Christmas holidays. My mom waited over 210 minutes to ride Pandora at the Avatar ride at Disney's Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom. So the crowds were pretty excessive. Not 90-minute wait times for rides were not uncommon. Fast passes were not to be had. They had been reserved. Fast pass time slots had been reserved weeks and weeks and weeks in advance. It was pretty intense experience. But my kids are getting older. They're starting to have their own lives. So synergizing the schedules of 4 kids that are over the age of 18, plus in-laws, grandparents, and my wife and I's schedule is probably the last large family vacation, and we're just going to have to accept piecemealing out our time to our kids when they are available, because they're starting that phase of their lives, Yeah, Tom, weather was good for the most part. It got a little bit warm. I think it went over 80 degrees a couple of times, and it was pretty warm in direct sunlight. The humidity never ends down here, so it was over 90% humidity all the time. But we had a couple days where it only got up into the low 70s, and it was very enjoyable. Probably one of the least sweaty Florida experiences that I've had. So, heading back to the safe house now. We're gonna unpack, repack, do some laundry tonight, and then hop an afternoon flight out of Raleigh and head back to Seattle tomorrow. And I'll be local to Seattle doing some local training for some agencies and stuff in January. Not a whole lot going on. Didn't really get anybody nibbling for wanting to host a class before SHOT Show, so I get it. That time right after the holidays before SHOT, it's tough. tough to fill classes. So doing some stuff local around Seattle, maybe get a little bit of time to get some weapons testing and get some personal range time in, which I've been greatly needing. And then it's off the SHOT Show. So, all right. So, first question of the day. Bacon asks, do I have any time shooting 2.0 M&P? And if so, what are my thoughts? I don't have any time shooting 1.0 M&P. I messed around with some other people's guns. Fisher had a really nice M&P 1.0 that Dougie had tricked out at ATEI, and it had a really, really nice trigger in it. And he traded it to Knipe and then traded it back or whatever. Somebody stole it. Somebody else stole it back. That gun very, very shortly kind of came into my life. I was absolutely aghast at the trigger reset on M&Ps. Yeah, Apex fixed it. Yeah, Doug fixed it, whatever. But the M&P 1.0 trigger out of the box was unacceptable. The finish on the pistol was unacceptable. You guys have heard me complain before, but Glocks have kind of spoiled me on all other firearms manufacturers' coatings because, I've seen a pistol that, I've rusted a Glock, but I had to really try hard to get that Glock to rust. I'm not talking about little accessory pieces. I'm talking about the slide. So when people, hear me bitch, about weapons finishes, like realize that I'm coming at it from the standpoint of someone that's made a Glock rust. I don't fuck around when it comes to treating guns like they should be at the bottom of a hole in my basement, putting the lotion in the basket. Like guns get no quarter from me. And you're a tool. Do your effing job. That's what you need to do. Firearm. I didn't pay all this money for you to do this job half-ass or when you feel like it or below standards or whatever. I hired you to do a thing, so you need to do that thing. And when I saw rusted magazines, rusted slides, on the M&P platform, I was just like, yeah, okay, F you. What are you doing that Glock isn't doing? And the answer is nothing. And then when I started seeing the accuracy stuff, then I was really like, ha ha ha, ha. 3-inch groups, ransom rested at 25. Yeah, the fuck out of here with that level of complete lack of accuracy in the platform. So M&P was dead to me before it even really got a shot. That being said, ODS got one of the new M&P 2.0s in khaki, FDE, whatever. On a deal, it was like, buy 5, get 1 free or something from the distributor. So I dry fired that thing quite a bit, and both from the finish and just the fit and feel of the gun, it seemed like it was a completely different platform. Yeah, it kind of looked like an M&P, but that's like saying a Gen 1 PMAG and the Gen 3 PMAGs look alike too. Well, they might look alike, but they ain't the same. They ain't made out of the same goo. They ain't made the same tolerances. They ain't got the same springs. So I certainly, I'm not going to trash talk somebody that showed up on a range with an M&P 2.0 and like clown them like I would, an XD or whatever, Taurus. Gabe Rivera from OC Orange County California, not Florida, since I just left Orange County, Florida. Gabe shoots M&P, and he's always done, exceptional in the classes that he's attended, my classes that he's attended with that platform. So I'm certainly not gonna, trash talk the gun, because there are people that can shoot that gun well. Jordan noticed that I trimmed my beard. Yeah, you guys can thank my wife for that. It was odd anyway, but whatever. Whatever. So, all right. John Jones says, now you've gotten to play with the CAC LMG. How long do you think you're going to have to badger Ash before you get to have your own? That's actually a discussion that I've been having, not with Knights directly, but with other guys that represent companies in this industry that have their own SOTs. And just the real, difficulty, ATF is, they're just not playing the backdoor loophole game anymore. Demo letters getting approved is becoming harder and harder to do. Like, the ATF is actually doing their due diligence, and they're making sure that the demo letter passes the common sense smell test. So, for example, belt-fed machine gun, automatically going to raise a flag if you're dropping an LE demo letter, for one, because they're going to be like, okay, show me the department that is requesting a belt-fed capability. Then let's take it one step further. Oh, Manufacturers Knights Armaments Corporation. Do they have a dedicated business development team? Oh, they do. Do they have a business development associate for LE and commercial? Oh, yeah, they have a position for that. Okay. Mark, why would you fly out and do a demo with them? So these are the questions that the ATF is asking. They're not just willy-nilly allowing, and it's having very real consequences for the industry, because we've got legitimate businesses that work in the what the DoD would call the enabler market. So they're making optics, they're making lasers, they're making other items, and they need test guns to be able to perform testing to within government specs. Ability for me to probably get my hands on an LAMG in the near term is going to be restricted. Let's just say that. I would have to be doing some serious consulting work. I would have to be doing some serious consulting work for Knights, where I could show a schedule where, as part of my training to law enforcement, I was bringing this gun out, and I was using this gun in demos for the closed enrollment or DHS funded courses that I was going on. Believe me, it's not out of the realm of the possibility. I absolutely want a 5.56 LAMG. Sure. Now it's just a matter of figuring out how to convince the ATF that I have a legitimate need for one. Yeah, signal pause for a couple of minutes. Got it. Yeah, we're going to run into that. I don't understand why it's 2019 and you can't have the I-95 corridor seamless 4G LTE. That doesn't compute with me. But whatever. Next question is Dave. Dave Firebaugh. He's going to ask, discuss 40 caliber Smith & Wesson, not in the context of any of my use of it in the past, but my opinion of the cartridge and guns that are chambered in them. Okay. So a good buddy of mine who is of the 40, he brought up the point where he was conceding that, FBI data shows that 9mm and 40 and 45, they're all, X, Y, and Z. And based on new developments and increases in bullet technology or whatever. So I have seen people make that argument, not across the board, but citing specific combinations. And what they will normally do to help justify the 9mm game is they will say, ballistically, there's almost no difference between 147 9mm and 165 40. Well, okay, they also make a bigger 40. Or 200 grain 45. Well, they also make 220 grain 45. So his point is, show me whatever black magic you've got, HST's bullet, Ranger's bullet. You show me bullet design that does all of this amazing expansion using smokeless low flash powders and all the amazing stuff that we have going on in 9mm, and we know that it all works. Now use that exact same matrix and apply it to 40 and tell me the 40 ain't gonna hurt worse. And it's kind of not a bad argument. If you like a 147 bullet better than a 124 bullet, then wouldn't you like a 185 40 more than you would like a 165 40? And if it was using the same HST style projectile, maybe hot loaded, I don't know. I don't know. I like my STI 40s. I liked them a lot. I really, really liked my compensated 40s. My compensated 40s were a pleasure to shoot. They are just really flat shooting guns and much more in the tolerances of running a dirty comped gun for duty. There was always plenty of gas to go around, and that gun was going to cycle. Didn't see any anemic Roland special complaints that people have about the Roland. I shot primarily 124 NATO ball out of my Roland for training, and that wasn't a tepid round. And then full power duty ammo for shooting bullseyes or for carry. And Roland was going to run. It was going to run 124 gold dot. He was going to run it. It's going to run HST. It's going to run it. Gun's going to reciprocate. You are not going to have stovepiping and rounds rolling off the top of the gun and any of that anemic stuff that you see with downloaded 115 grain, where the manufacturer is trying to save money when you go into an order of magnitude of loading millions of rounds and you're skimping a little bit of grains of powder off each one. You're recouping some profit back by doing that. And the 40s just never had that problem. There was just all kinds of gas to keep that gun shooting nice and flat. So I like the 40. Yes, I understand it had issues. Um, we all believe, not to rehash or go back down memory lane about the Glock 22 flashlight issue. Why, on the one hand, you have the systemic problem of agencies saying our guns won't run with flashlights on them. And then you've got other agencies saying, dude, we fired millions of rounds and just are not seeing what you're seeing. And at the end of the day, I think we were able to hypothesize that the the agencies that had the biggest problems were the ones running the hottest loads. And so you got into a rail flex situation when you were running those hot loads. And so now you've got a gun that's running kind of at the edge of its tolerances where, hey, look, this kind of timid 40 cal round isn't causing the rail flex with that light attached that we're seeing with the plus P loads, the hot loads in the 40 that are really under the, not microscopic, but the super fast imaging cameras. You're watching that flex, and something about the propagation of that flex down the frame was affected by the flashlight. So really hot duty ammo plus flashlight plus Glock 22, now you're maybe looking at a problem or something. Whereas other units just selected a different duty load, and they're over here like bam, 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 bam. Internet, I can't hear your 40 cal problems over this motherfucking gun working so good. So that's kind of why you get these really crazy, like 180 out internet opinions. I believe they're both right. I believe both agencies are right. Nobody's coming on the internet trying to lie to us to kind of justify they've fallen in love with their department purchase and they're so in love with their program that they're unwilling to admit when their dog has fleas. I think they're right. They're just not shooting the same bullets. There you go. There's my thoughts on Bodie. I'd carry one again in a heartbeat, especially for free bullets. Dan was one of the guys that squeaked into Fight Club. My last training event of the year down in Jayville a couple weeks ago. Dan said that he had a blast in the class. If you guys didn't get a chance to go to that thing, y'all really missed out. It was a good time, good student base, a lot of learning occurred. Put together a really good team, a really good package. I've been wanting to get down into the Florida LE market more, and so I made sure that from a business model standpoint that I put my best foot forward, just kind of showing these guys what the art of the possible was. And I think it's going to pay off good benefits in 2019. I just got to stay the course. What I'm not making in over the top self promotion on social media, I'm going to make in word of mouth from professional to professional, and the professionals are continuing to acknowledge the secret sauce that's going on at these classes. And like, dude, this is not your run of the mill tactical trainer guy out here. There's a je ne sais quoi that's happening at those courses. So that word's going to continue to perpetuate itself as long as I stay true to myself and you customers, and provide you guys the quality that you deserve, and frankly that I know that I can provide. When I'm in it to win it. So Any plans to come back for more classes? Absolutely. Uh, for those of you guys that don't know, I've had a personal relationship with with elements of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office going back to Light Fighter in the early 2000s. So, there's guys that have been on that department, and they've been seeking out knowledge to try to improve the Jacksonville County Sheriff's Office to stay relevant, to kind of lead the way in their jurisdiction and in their part of the state. And frankly, I would say in the country, um, just very quietly, kind of behind the scenes, Jacksonville has always been thirsty for knowledge. They've always questioned the status quo, and whether that came to equipment, tactics, techniques, and procedures, or what have you. And so that was one of those, man, I'll know I made it when I could go down and do a class for the Jacksonville County Sheriff's Office, because they've got really, really talented guys that are on their team. I mean, there's people from all over the country paying to train with Jared, and they don't have to pay to train with Jared. They train, we go to the range. So to come in and know that that's like their default level of whatever, uh, to be able to go there and still have something for them that made them think that their time was worthwhile, has been kind of a dream come true for me. So I'm absolutely looking forward to getting back into Jacksonville, and into all up and down Florida. Mocha Bear's hosting me. Um, I need to check my calendar. I don't have any of my crap posted. I've been kicking the can down the road. Uh, I've been kicking the can down the road on getting my course schedule up for the first half of 2019. But I promise you guys it's coming. I just got to circle back around, touch all these hosts again, make sure that what we had agreed on in text messages and emails is still valid dates, so I don't post the list and then have to do a bunch of revisions to it. But yeah, I'm going to do a thing down in Homestead. I think it's going to be a no-fill pistol. But Jacksonville Gun Gallery had talked about hosting me as well. So with Don being there, Don Edwards, and with Jared being there, with Mocha Bear being down south, there's a lot of talent that's local in that area. So I'm coming into a market that I wouldn't say is saturated, but you don't have to bring in outside talent to have talent available. Um, but can I talk about a lot of the same concepts as Jared, but just kind of look at them from a different angle, maybe, or just maybe explain the concept in a different way, where you might have done something that Jared was teaching, and for whatever reason it didn't just resonate in your little brain, and you've been back on your home range trying to repeat some of this stuff, and it just hasn't clicked in your synapses yet. And I might say something that you're like, the light bulb goes on. You're like, damn it, Jared told me that 36 months ago, and I have been unable to apply it in my daily life. But what you just said, or what you just showed me, like, now I get it. And it's like, it just takes everything Jared said and then just applies it to your situation, and bam, total change. And I've had instructors do that for me. Jerry Micklick has said stuff to me that Mike Voigt taught me, or Kyle Lamb taught me, or somebody else taught me. And I just couldn't bring it all together until Jerry demonstrated it, taught it, or said it. And then all of a sudden it was like the veil had been lifted, the fog cleared, and I had absolute understanding of what these other instructors had been trying to communicate to me, but I was too dumb to figure out. So, Florida, I shall be back. Brian Lucas, AR Triggers, Geisley. Which model? Flat. So super dynamic, flat, enhanced because it's light. I don't have an SSP yet, but I think I dry fired Fishers. But I might switch to super dynamic SSP. General rule, you guys always ask me trigger questions, trigger, Glock, trigger. If you want to know what I'm running, it's the lightest thing that I can get that can make the gun go bang. I got 0 Fs to give. I got 0 Fs to give about trigger pull because I'm not going to stick my finger in there until I'm ready to get after it. I don't stack trigger to the wall and then try to talk to somebody, or stack trigger to the wall because I'm expecting a door to open and surprise me, or stack trigger to the wall while I'm waiting to see somebody's hands. Whatever. I stack trigger to the wall right before I take a human being's life. And yeah, that's pretty much where that's at. So lighter the better. Why lighter the better? Because if you're gonna allow yourself to fall into the trap of pre-ignition movement / flinch / shank / whatever that funky stuff that we as human beings do with our guns after we have everything lined up and perfect, the lighter the trigger, the sooner it's going to go bang, the less physical movement of your poor execution of the fundamentals can occur before the bullet leaves the barrel. So I just want to compress the time that the bullet leaves the barrel. Long, heavy pull, longer time for me to move the gun off the X-ring before it goes bang. Short, snappy pull, less physical time. My barrel goes further away from the X-ring with whatever horrible, bad, evil, I shouldn't be doing it. It's not part of the fundamentals. I'm a horrible human being. Whatever all that is less with a lighter trigger. Mechanical crutch for improper training, whatever. Perfect, perfect execution every time, sure, yeah. Show me the 25-yard 110x in sub 10 seconds. Show it to me. And if you can't show that to me, then you're fucked up too, because the gun was pointed at X, and you are doing things that are flawed. Are they 59 out of 100 on a B8 flawed? No. I probably shouldn't be using a trigger shoe as a mechanical crutch if I'm a 59 shooter. But if I'm a 90 plus shooter and I want to make the gun go off sooner when I'm fucked up, then yes, I'll absolutely take every mechanical advantage I can that does not affect the reliability of the gun in an unsafe manner or what have you. That's why I'm not changing trigger springs and things like that. So as soon as I start having light, if you're having an inadvertent discharge of the weapon, inadvertent discharge of the weapon within Matt B is asking, do you put anything on your RMR lenses to mitigate fogging and moisture? Absolutely. I cat crap. I mean, when I'm not being lazy or whatever, when I'm trusting my life to my equipment, I cat crap both my night vision. I cat crap both sides of my rifle sights. I cat crap both sides of my RMR. Always paste, never liquid. And I use a Q-tip to apply that. Rub it around in the blue paste. Rub the blue paste on the front. Flip it around. Rub the blue paste edge to edge, corner to corner. Blue paste on the back. By the time I'm done applying it on the back, the front is good. Take a clean cloth or whatever. wipe off the part that you can get to with your thumb, and then go back in with clean Q-tips and buff in a square motion, rotating the Q-tip, buff out the paste that's in the corners of your RMR window, with the inside corners being the toughest to get to. And then I reapply that as needed. Is it going to prevent everything from fogging? No, but it's going to give you more time, especially on something like iPro. If I'm out on a hot, humid night, I am living on borrowed time with my iPro. If the cat crap keeps it from fogging for 5 more minutes before I have to remove my iPro and stick them in my armor or hang them off the side of my helmet or whatever, that's 5 more minutes that if I sustained an unexpected explosion or a near miss ricochet that creates secondary fragments of spall off the side of a stucco wall or wood splinters or something like that, that I'm not getting projectiles into my eyeball and losing my eye permanently. So cat crap bought me 5 more minutes before I have to accept must be able to see to fight, must be willing to sacrifice my eyesight permanently in order to see. So cat crap's important. 5 minutes could save your vision. So you need to do that. Can you walk us through your newest Glock builds, preferably the 19X? Just want to know what you've done, why, expectations. Cheers, Happy New Year's. Okay. Since I've been watching my Patreon thing do this the last 48 hours, dudes cashing out, dudes bumping up, dudes pulling all their money out and running for the hills, whatever. And it's always that way around Patreon payday. People want to watch it through till the end of the month to get all the content they can, and then they pull the ripcord and bail right before collection time. I will give you guys Patreon exclusive that warrants your $1 for this month, or whatever. The reason why there hasn't been a release on this is because the licensing agreements are not in place yet, but more importantly, pricing. Because if I show you something, you're going to want to know how much it costs, and the answer is I don't know. These were done for me, and so now Overwatch has to go back from a business model standpoint and figure out, can they reproduce what they did for me, for you? And if they can, what's that going to cost just to do it? And then can the market sustain that cost to retail with licensing residuals for moi? Or do I have a capability that is priced out of the reach of these get out in the wild? So I showed you guys these pistols on the gram, but I showed them to you from this direction because this isn't where the fancy sauce happened. That is essentially the same concept as a Warren Tactical wrap-on, but it has been molded into the frame of the pistol. And this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while because I had a pistol that was modified even more aggressively than this, not just a hump down the middle, but a swell around the entire grip. And it was done by an aftermarket company to one of my not owned by me platforms. We'll just leave it at that. So I carried for about the last 5 years before I retired, I carried a heavily modified frame. Instead of using a coating like this, I used the Gamer silicon carbide impregnated into the polymer. So it had the sparkly sandpapery like effect that just destroyed my gloves, my hands, anything. It was like, holding on to a barbed wire fence, and I love it. Loved it. The coloration you guys see here, that's my DNA. That's the skin that I've deposited on this weapon just from dry fire. And I have not live fired any of these weapons yet. I picked them up from my FFL. Picked them back up from my FFL at the beginning of this vacation. I got these from my FFL, did all the 4473s, and then shipped them out to Overwatch. And Overwatch, by policy, will only ship back to either an FFL or the private owner's address that they shipped it from. So my intent was mail it from the FFL after I've transferred the guns to me over to Overwatch. Then Overwatch could mail them to wherever I wanted them mailed. But to keep all the paperwork legit, keep the ATF happy, we just sent them back to my FFL. So that's what's up. This is a coating, not a stipple job. It is very, very aggressive. Obviously, it covers up whatever polymer. So this is a polymer build where they had to add material to the side of the gun. Add material to the side of the gun is traditional stippling up here. This is not this coat. So why? And the simple matter is, if you talk to some people on the internet, they will tell you that really aggressive stippling or sandpaper or whatever is not necessary, that you just need to go to the gym more and do CrossFit and whatever. And by doing pull-ups, you're going to have grip strength and whatever. And I will tell you that science and physics dictate that is, in fact, a lie. When we talk about application of shearing forces, if you have a completely flat surface, it takes pressure and friction to prevent shearing. And the more friction you have, the less pressure you need. So you get into why can't you have both? Go to the gym and get monster forms, get your captains of crush out, avoid giving yourself tendonitis. But crushing grip on the gun is going to have to be crushing grip on the gun all the time when you're in Florida and it's 95 degrees and you're sweating and the gun is completely wet. So by adding material, you're no longer needing either friction or compression to prevent shear forces. So as you are squeezing your fingers, the rear drumstick of your palm is able to grab purchase on something to provide counter force for the squeezing grip on your firing hand from your support hand. So you're actually pushing forward on the gun and not squeezing the gun like a sandwich. Your fingers are coming in. Can't be flagging the motorist next to me. Your fingers are coming in, and you're able to get in on the back of this thing and squeeze and apply good forward motion and really lock those fingers in on the rear of the gun. Also, if you are a elbows out or bent arms kind of guy, you're not locking the gun out to full extension. As you bring the gun back in closer, because you want to be able to pew, 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 pew like this, it causes a greater angle on your hands, and it's harder to roll in and lock that gun than it is if the gun's being punched out in a straight, more isosceles style. So by adding more material, you don't have to bring the drumsticks together as hard to maintain good solid control over the gun. The gun is literally moving out to your hand, and you're not having to give up some of that recoil management that you want by shooting the gun kind of in a more compressed style, whether it be elbows out or elbows down like old Proctor likes to shoot. So you're getting some mechanical advantage there. What are you losing? You can't do it for EDC. You're putting wedges on the other side of the holster to try to prevent that. So, if you're a good-looking, Metro guy, you're a good-looking man. You got hair product, you might spray tan a little bit. I mean, we're not talking full Jersey Shore here. You like wearing your mediums, when you go to the club, and them silky shirts and shit. And you're not gonna be able to throw this pistol appendix into a spotlight or a floodlight and go to the club. The texture is gonna destroy your shirt. Your shirt's gonna snag on it, and the gun's gonna print because it's got a fucking duty mag well on it. All right, this is not an EDC. This is not an EDC. This is duty gun. I'll make this damn thing as big as I can, as long as I can still do support hand only shooting with the hump in there. Look, hump's in there. Hump's in there. I still get all that finger in that trigger. So that's the only limit. Well, how big do you make the palm swell? I'll make it as big as I can, as long as when this gets shot off, digits hanging off, I can get back on this gun left hand only. Righty, guys. Get on this gun left hand only and still fire it. So it is still comfortable to be used in a support hand only role. So this is my Gen 3. I got a Gen 534 now. 2 of the 4 guns were done straight stipple. 2 of the 4 guns were done with the palm swell attachment. This is the other one that was done, 19X. Got the hump, not as much DNA, or maybe it just blended in better. I don't know. Waiting on a KKM comp, KKM barrel comp. Victory First. I'm switching over to Victory First barrels just because if I've got to support somebody, I'd rather support Jake than support KKM, because KKM's had some changes in leadership and whatever, and they are unwilling to kind of do the right thing and throw a brother a bone. They're looking at it from a straight business person capitalist perspective of like, well, did you have a licensing agreement with us when you asked us to make that 19 barrel with a comp on it? No, then we don't owe you shit. Okay, I'm not saying you owe me. I want $10 commission on every barrel you've ever sold since the rolling special became a thing. But I'd also like to be able to call y'all up and get 6 barrels sent to my house, or 4, and not get invoiced for $680. Like, that'd be cool too, back to fill in this void to prevent a 350 series or 63 So this gun is just kind of hanging out until it's got a stock barrel in it. It's just kind of hanging out until the KKM drops their comp, and I can get one from Doug. So Doug redid the finish on this when he cut it. He Dougified this gun as well. OP. That's one of the reasons why. Ben at Boresight. I'm absolute of his. And Overwatch has a relationship with Doug. I already had a relationship with Doug. He'd been taking care of me since back when I was still working, and so it was a better fit for me to get in with get in and try to collaborate with Overwatch Precision, where I could get triggers, framework, and Dougified slides all kind of done together. Having to parcel my gun out to multiple locations or whatever. That said, um, I would give Ben my absolute highest recommendation for the work that he does there at Boresight Solutions. He's just a um, just really good dude, and does great work on his guns. And he got there on his own too. Like, he wasn't given out when he was putting in the man hours. He didn't care who you were. He was not giving out free frame jobs. What was not doing it. It was not until he expanded his business plan and got some employees in there and looked at his processes and got the costs more manageable that he even approached guys like Jared or me or Noner, and basically gave us the, hey man, I'm at the point in my business model where I can take care of you if you need me to for a bill or whatever. And I respected that about him, that when he was making his own money or whatever, he was just going to let the quality of his work get out there and speak for itself. He was not going to try to throw a gun at Steve Fisher or me or Noner or whatever and lose all of the man hours that he spent stippling those guns by himself as a one-man shop. He had better ways to spend his time. And frankly, he did not think that an endorsement from one of us idiots was worth all the man hours and love and sweat that he was putting into those guns. So he built Boresight on his own hard work. And I'm glad to see that he's being successful, even though, obviously Boresight frame jobs are in a direct competition to Overwatch, and now to future press check Overwatch stuff that's going on. That doesn't mean that my competitor is not an honorable man, So, yeah, I've heard some stuff about the Texas Black Rifle Company comp. There's guys that have been doing different evals and stuff like that. The bottom line is the two chamber KKM. Nobody has shown me a comp that shoots better. So again, in this realm, this is not an EDC gun. I know the Roland Special is an EDC gun. This is also a designed to be a duty pistol. That's why it's got a full size magwell on it, not like a Freya, or whatever. So, this gun comped is designed to drop into a 34 holster. I will run this gun against this gun for split times and let you guys know for me, what runs better, a comp 19 or a tricked out 34. I'm going to shoot those guns side to side, take some accuracy testing, some split time differences for different drills and stuff like that. Just kind of let you guys know what's up with that. So got off on a little bit of sidebar, a little bit of fanboy shit about the great stuff that Boresight's doing down there, even though Overwatch is your one-stop Glock shop for all the hotness. All right, moving forward. Do I have any time behind a HK 433? My thoughts on it, wondering how it stacks up against the 416, a tuned M4 like a Hadra CAC. Okay, so the short answer to that is since I'm about to Google what a 433 is, the answer is no. I don't have any time on a day 433 unless it is a flower by a different name. Nope. Never seen it. I'm looking at pictures of it. Never seen it. So yeah, I'm not a whole lot of help for you. I have no experience with that system at all. I've shot XM8. I've shot G36. I shot 416, G33. All that crap. Chop 5.56s, chop 7.62s, full size 5.56s, full 7.62s, all in the old roller lock variant, and 416 beats them all. 416 versus a tuned M4. SBR, I would probably take full size. I would definitely take the gas gun. Full size, I would definitely take the gas gun. There are some guns out there that are shooting just insanely soft. If you can't get yourself into a Hodge, you need to buy one of those FN TAC-2 16-inch rifles. I shot Fishers, man, and that thing's like cheating. I'm gonna quit carrying like an SBR in regular non-fight club, non-night fighter classes. If I do a regular daytime carbine, I'm gonna shoot a 16-inch gun because when you're demoing or whatever, carrying these short ass guns with these snappy ass recoil impulses with some marginally acceptable pistol braces, whatever, all of that, like, you're just handicapping yourself. I see Mac and some of these other guys, and I'm like, that dude's shooting a Pen 14.5 or a 16-inch gun. Why the hell am I out here trying to impress my students with a 10-inch or 11.5-inch fire breather? Like, why? Why am I doing that to myself? Students don't care. Students don't care. They only want to see how fast you shoot and how accurate you shoot. So they care less about the equipment that you shoot. So I'm gonna definitely gonna get some other guns that are more easier to fire. Trijicon MRO, viable alternative to the micro. I'm going to go negative on that. The fisheye effect at the edge of the lens and the color have really kind of ticked people off. I don't mind about the color as much because I shoot RMRs. And with that color, obviously comes battery life, but the Aimpoint wasn't suffering from battery life issues anyway. So I don't see the MRO lasting longer than comparable Aimpoints. So it doesn't do anything for me that an Aimpoint can't do. I am looking for a good red dot, but I'm looking for a good red dot with a large field of view and a better reticle than just a dot. And a good night vision mode. So basically, I'm looking for an EOTech that works. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Or I should say, an EOTech that works better than an EOTech. So from the mini red dot realm, there's no need for me to go away from the T1 or T2, depending on the application, with the RMO. It's not doing anything for me. I'm not really caring about price either way. So whatever. Foreman giving me a shout out for the AR Build Junkie interview. Those came out really well. I think I will be wanting to do some more stuff with that guy. He called me up out of the blue. I had never heard of AR Build Junkie, but he said that he had interviewed Nona or something in the past, and there are guys in the industry that are kind of like my mentors or whatever. And so as soon as he said that he had done that he had interviewed, it might not have been Nona, it might have been Mac. But as soon as he said that he had interviewed with, I'm reasonably assured that this is going to be a hatchet job. But I wasn't prepared for just how well he did in transcribing verbatim what I was saying, and then laying it out in that format, and then going out on the internet and finding those pictures, finding those video clips, and kind of visually putting it together for you guys. Like absolutely pleasantly surprised with the way that they came out. The last interview on 762, it was towards the end of the time that he and I had agreed to do it. I didn't know that we were going to break those down into 3 separate segments, but he got so much good content. He made that call. So I was trying to be very, very brief in segment 3 about 762. It's nothing that I hadn't said, and I thought that was really cool that he actually linked my 16-minute YouTube video. Not that any of the haters that read the article and hated it actually clicked on the icon and listened to my full layout and present the argument, 762 versus 556 primary and secondary modcast, which is one of the most viewed primary and secondary modcasts that are out there. So Matt took that 16-minute portion of that much longer episode and made it its own video, and AR Build Junkie linked to that. So if people want to understand why I was saying these controversial things or whatever in that interview, it's because, hey man, I wasn't writing an article for SWAT magazine, bro. I didn't know what questions this guy was going to ask. Dude asked me my opinion. I answered. And I threw out some kind of counter talking points to the standard but my 762 argument that I get. But I didn't go through and cite all of the anecdotal experience or testing and things that I had seen that validated those points. So of the 3 articles, obviously the third one was the most controversial because there's a lot of people that are really, really, really emotional about 762. Okay, got it. So, but overall, extremely happy that I took a chance with this unknown author from the industry. There are other guys that I've done collaborations with that I just know it's just a known quantity. Hey, this guy's going to put out a decent article or whatever. But this gentleman that contacted me and asked me to do that, he did a really, really good job. So I think you guys should absolutely start following his ARBuildJunkie.com blog or website or whatever, because he's very talented. He's a very talented guy. Brian O's asking, I'm interested in coming to Shooter Symposium at some point in the future. What would you consider the minimum skill level to be at for that event? Well, obviously, it's going to depend on what instructors you take. You need to be, locked in on your range conduct. I would take a basic pistol or carbine, whichever one you're going to do, from somebody prior to going to symposium. You're going to learn a lot about what to pack. You're going to learn a lot about range conduct. Now, yes, range conduct varies from class to class. If you go to my class, you might get a wrong impression about how classes are run because I'm not doing programmed breaks. I don't break for lunch. I expect you to bring ammunition to the line with you. And the only time that you should be back off the line is if you need to get in the shade for a second because environmentally you're getting crushed, to refill your hydration, or to go to the bathroom, or grab a snack and come back up on the line and eat it. Because the magic happens at very kind of weird moments when I teach. Sometimes I don't know what I want to talk about until I see it. I'm following the loose script of the drills, and then the students are bringing out these really good learning points as they make mistakes or whatever. So if you're back screwing off in your range bag, you might miss something that I say up on the line. And you never know when those off of a POI, they don't audible shift off of that POI unless the weather, something's going on with the targetry or the range, or something like that, or they've got a student that just really, really, really sucks and they can't safely progress, or whatever. And so those guys, if you went to their class in April of 17, their class in August of 18 is going to be almost word for word the exact same information. But getting off the main point, but the reason why good range conduct is important is because these classes are very, very rushed, and the instructors are not trying to provide the information that they provide in their own class. Shooter Symposium is almost like finger food, and so the instructors are trying to, in a more compressed cycle, figure out how to appropriately give you a taste of what they think makes them special and different than what the other instructors do, so that you will go back and buy their full course. That's why we're all there. We're all there to get you for 2 or 3 days at your home range or at one of our ranges, and to get your undivided attention. In order to do that, we're playing well with our mates and we're sharing you. So you're going to be on a line that might be a little bit more congested. The student ratio to instructor might be a little bit higher because Shockey's trying to give you guys the most amount of opportunity to get with the instructors you want, but a normal class does not have 20 guys on the firing line at the same time. See that? And we're not, because of the bargain, what we're charging for you guys, and all of the overhead involved with making Symposium a success, we are not, none of us can afford to bring our AIs out, our go-to guy for big classes. I'll fill it. You want to shoot 20 dudes on a line? I will take y'all's money. I will also, if we're going to shoot 20 dudes on a line at the same time, I'm not going to be so greedy that I'm not going to pay somebody to come out there and help you guys through that process to ensure that you're still getting the one-on-one feedback that you think you deserve for the cost that you're paying or whatever. And we don't have the overhead to be able to do that at Symposium. So you've got to be on a line in closer physical proximity, and the range do's and don'ts of being in a training class environment. You could make a mistake like turn and face one of the safety berms, knowing that you're totally within the 4 firearm safety rules, but one of the other fellow students turns back and sees you all the way back at the 25-yard line and you're messing with your pistol. It's out of its holster. Its status is unknown to any of the other students or the instructor. That's all cause for concern. That's all raising the safety flag. And then you become that guy. So if you're a cop and you're used to shooting on the firing line with other people, then maybe you don't need to go to a basic pistol class. If you are an avid three gunner or USPSA or IDPA and you know your way around a match and you understand loading and unloading procedures, maybe you don't need to go to a basic pistol class prior to coming out. It's less about skill level and it's more about conducting yourself maturely and responsibly in this environment of quasi big boy rules that you might see at symposium. So that's what I would tell you. Bring your safety A game, and if you're safe and you know how to unload your pistol and you know how to load your pistol and you know how to draw and present, if you know your way around your firearm, then you don't need shit to come to symposium. Bring your ass to symposium. That's my advice. All right. Monk's asking what kind of accuracy I'm getting out of my 12-5 Hodge. I have not been doing a lot of belly shooting. I think the last time I was shooting rifle, like grouping accuracy rifle, was when I went and hung out. I didn't have nothing going on. I went and hung out with Bill Blowers and did his squad designated marksman course for local cops, whatever it was. So one of his throwback regional classes back in our home state. And I shot pinned 14.5-inch Marisol Defense 1.5 for that, and it was freaking laser beams. I have not seen any failure to group well out of my 12.5. I believe that I can probably shoot my 12.5, group wise as accurate as a 14.5, where I might see some differences out. My come ups velocity is going to be down, so I'm going to have to hold greater at greater distances. Once I start bleeding that energy off, how much? Who knows? I'd have to get out. I haven't been doing the applied ballistics thing. I'll get on that and get familiar with it. I was still using A-Track when I was sniping, but the further out you go, the more that stuff matters. It's taking the mile shot at hot nets, and I had my 16-inch gas gun, and there was a couple 20-inch Mark 11s up on the line, and the difference in come ups was at a mile was, I believe I was holding 31 mils high to hit, and the Mark 11 guys were shooting 26 and change maybe. So you're talking 5 mils, five mils. That's like half the clicks in a damn tower on some scopes. There's scopes out there with 12, 13 mil turret, single turn turrets. That's half the damn adjustment in your scope difference between 16-inch, 20-inch barrel. So difference between what's up, babe? Oh, yeah, difference between 14.5 pin and 12.5. Negligible as far as I've seen thus far. That'll be my answer, and I'm sticking to it. Tom's got a 3 for. He asked if I've lost some weight, so I shot a class with Tom in October. I alluded to it a little bit in the whatever. I'm not documenting any kind of weight loss or whatever to try to get pat on the back or any of that crap, but I mentioned it in an update back in my Washington house last month or whatever that I was gonna do some lifestyle change stuff. Short answer, yes, I've lost some weight. I can't do a lot of high intensity exercise because of how broken I am and how bad my muscles have atrophied. So chances of me causing an injury while trying to get better shape are very high. Especially as heavy as I am. I am attempting to control my weight by diet alone. That is hard. So ongoing struggle. Obviously, vacation didn't help that. I had a couple of cheat days on vacation. I don't think I put any weight back on, but it threw me off my glide path that I was on. I officially started the Monday after. I'm probably down 20 pounds since Thanksgiving. But like anything in life, it's painful. The amount of caloric intake that I'm taking into, if they went Jersey, there's no way. It's too close to a 50-50 population in the state. They would get some dissenting Democrat moderates to not want to go in on that are in areas that are where their constituency, and they wouldn't have the votes. But by writing it the way that they've written it, where there's a grandfather clause, but then they're mitigating the grandfather clause by requiring you to unload the magazines in a box separate from the lock box of your weapon anytime that the magazines are outside of your home and can only be in your vehicle for the purpose of going directly to and from the firing range. It negates 3-gun shooting, sports shooting, all of these arguments that there are purposes other than tuning a motherfucker up that we would want standard capacity magazines. You could still use them in 3-gun. You could still bring them to your range. You could still go out and hunt with them. You could still do all these activities. You just can't protect your life, your property, or your family with them. Requiring them to be disarmed in the places other than your own home that you would choose to use a standard capacity magazine to defend yourself, like everyday carry. Very, very insidious, dangerous piece of legislation. We'll see if it gets killed in committee. We'll see if it goes to a vote. We'll see if it passes. But I have told my wife that a magazine ban or an assault weapons ban is a red line for me. So you guys will all know at the same time I do whether or not I'm moving. If the legislation passes, then I will immediately take very public and aggressive measures to leave the state as soon as it is feasible to do so. and I will go tell it on the mountain that I am being run out of my community on a rail because my neighbors are unwilling to coexist. Joe London's asking about press check Night Fighter pistol. Serial number 1 is being built now. I'd say I'm probably safe. It's probably safe for me to say that. Yeah. So I think Joe probably build 2 before he builds mine, and then those 2 will be test guns, and then mine, and then when our 3 test guns have over 5,000 rounds each through them, then we will agree, all right, this is the design it's going to go, and we'll start production on serial number, whatever out of 25. So we've already got 9 of the guns pre-sold. So those 9 individuals will have to wait till we're done testing the guns. They'll get their guns in 2019, but they're not going to get their guns in January of 2019. Because we're taking features that are all proven in Joe's designs, and we're putting them all together. And we're not going to ship it out of the door with his name on it, my name on it, figuratively, not literally, until we're happy that we have a magazine and pistol combination that is functional. Guns got to run. Guns got to run. So as soon as we got 3 guns that are running, then we'll bless off on it. There'll probably be some photo shoot crap that happens before that. So, I'm not going to hide the gun for 5,000 rounds. I'm going to show the gun off. You guys will see it on a Q&A. I'll do a video about it. I'll be shooting it at the range, or whatever I get might not be the gun that the first production gun that goes out. And it's a limited run of 25 pistols that's for sale. We booked through the ATF 28 or 29 serial numbers. So Joe's gun doesn't come out of that batch. My gun doesn't come out of that batch. There's 25 pistols available for the public. Joe's master gunsmith, who's going to be doing the build on some of them, he when he heard about the idea, he had said, "Man, I wish I could have, get one." And Joe's going to see about making that happen. Possibly, might end up inheriting one of the test guns. So, all right, last one. Chucky Constantine is asking, how does prescription eyewear affect the use of night vision? Are there issues with someone wearing glasses will have to deal with, and how are those issues dealt with? Very, very good point. I'm just bought 2 sets of nods instead of 1 set of panos because I couldn't get my panos. On one of the sets of nods, it uses fixed diopter lenses on the back. Diopters are some some prescription lens, whatever. If you wear glasses, you understand about planos and +1 and minus whatever. It's all optometrist crap. Traditional night vision, PVS 14, PVS 7, PVS 15, PVS 23, Anvis, they all used objective diopter adjustment, manual adjustment. So if you were wearing clear Oakleys with no inserts and you were a 20/30 guy in your shooting eye, you could adjust the plano to your prescription into the rear of the night vision goggle, and it would correct your vision. And you would have 20/20 vision in that right eye looking through that nod. Problem is, flip the nod up, you go back to 20/30 vision in that eye. And there are guys that have light prescription that will do that. They'll run clear lens. And the benefits of doing that is that when this fogs up and I take them off, I still have prescription in my nod. The downside to doing it that way is, well, for manual adjustment, there is no zero. And if you take your nods and they're fuzzy, you can manually, it should be coming back on here. It's a different prescription. Losing me again. Okay, that were essentially different prescriptions. So as soon as we went, thank you, 18-wheeler, for pulling out in front of me. As soon as we went to I started running 0/0 my nods, and I corrected at my prescription lens. I was running prescription lenses anyway, so I'm a little bit screwed. Not bad. I'm a little bit screwed when my glasses fog and I got to pull them off and drop down my nods because my nods are just clear plastic. There's no prescription on them at all because I don't want to double correct for my vision. But I'm less than 20/30. I'm somewhere between 20/25 and 20/30 in my shooting eye. 20/25. But so that's my thoughts on wearing eye pro. I think that you should correct your vision at your eye pro, and then take care of your eye pro. Keep anti-fog on your eye pro, and keep your eye pro on your face as long as you can. That's what I think. But there are options depending on your style of night vision to correct at the nod. All right, guys, that covers Coy Heil is asking for a night fighter gun, 416, 11.5, 12.5, upper with a Viz and IR laser. Would I run a 1-6 M5 or similar? On a 12.5-inch gun, I run a low power variable optic, even though the Vortex in night vision mode is still pretty gnarly. For a shorty, I've heard the T2 is a lot more night vision friendly than the T1. So I would probably run a T2, even though I don't own one right now. I only have T1s. I would run a T2 or right now of the stuff available to me. That would be my choice. Hoping that some other companies out there continue to get on board with this night vision stuff. Not sold on the LCO yet. I think it still has some fleas. Vortex Huey's not night vision capable. So you've got the T2, and you're just going to have to deal with the lack of light transmission and that really, really small objective. I would love to see Aimpoint do the call it a T3, and do a T2 with a 30 millimeter objective lens like the M4 M4S, M68, uh, Comp M2, all of those patrol rifle optic, which is a Comp M2. All of those are all 30 millimeter circular, EOTech 30 millimeter boxed, T1, T2, 26 mil. And you wouldn't think that 4 millimeters makes a difference when it comes to light transmission. But I ain't putting a big ass M4S on a tiny ass little gun, like a PDW style gun anyway. I mean, maybe I would, but yeah, they. I don't want to say they screwed up, but there are people that value the different. There are people that value the dimensions of the objective and having a larger objective more than other people do. I remember when I saw the original micro at the Aimpoint booth and shot like back in like 2005 or something. And I was like, man, they're like, yeah, this is like a submachine gun optic. I'm like, this field of view is dog shit. Nobody's ever going to like this optic. And, I was wrong. For daylight, flat range, whatever, there's a whole lot of people that like that optic. So, Ethan, what LPVO for general use and patrol use? I'm still running Vortex HD2s, the Razor HD2s with mil reticle. I'm up to 3. I'm up to 3 now. I don't have a lot of rifles. I don't have like Fisher levels of rifles, so I'll get a Cali's this year, just because I'll probably make enough money that I'll need to. And then I'm waiting for Leupold's, whatever the loophole was that they submitted for the USASOC trials. I'm waiting to get one of those. But yeah, the Razor HD2, especially the E model, with a little bit of weight savings. These things are awesome. All right, now let's take a look at the comments section. I'm sure you guys have been out of control. Jordan asked, is NATO 124 grain Winchester? Yeah, it's from the Olin factory. You can get factory seconds on that stuff. It's hard prime, not like Israeli hard prime. Israeli hard prime that they made for the Uzis, that stuff was insane. But the NATO ball is hard prime, and you will see light strikes shooting it before you see light strikes with ammo with commercial primers. Makes it more environmentally friendly for repeated chambering and unchambering, like guard duty. You saw, anybody that's been downrange, you'll get primer dimpling from just locking and loading and unloading and locking and loading and unloading. And so the primers on military ammo, and in case you dropped it into a gravel, range, that you wouldn't get that face down. hitting on the primer and having a controlled detonation at your feet. The 124 NATO is it's got a beefy primer. F3's asking, Chuck, if you're just a dumbass civilian like me with no range access for after hours or low light shooting, is there anything that you would be doing to prep for your first low light class? Yeah. I would be practicing light activations, draw weapon mounted light. Like, when are you turning this thing on? When are you turning it off? What digits are you using to do it? If you are scan and assess to make a determination to use deadly force, are you activating with your trigger finger? If you need to shoot right now, are you using support hand thumb and lowering, potentially compromising some of your support hand recoil management because you're coming in and activating the light with your left thumb, and then just mashing that thing and taking the pain of the rocker switch hitting you in your support hand thumb as you rapid fire. How are you doing? How are you going to do all that? And you might not even know what you don't know, but you need to be able to turn your damn flashlight on when it's dark. You also need to be able to manage recoil using some different techniques. So, I would watch any videos that the instructor has that demonstrate any of the low light techniques. If you're going to be running flashlight back here, pistol pushed out or whatever, you probably need to be at the range, even if it's fully illuminated, holding a flashlight in your hand and firing rapid fire strong hand only strings. Probably going to be some change in your stance that you're going to want to do. If you're going to be doing the knuckle technique or whatever, Harry's, or if you're punching that out, and using a Combat Z style combat light, you need to be dry fire in that belt pouch, getting that flashlight out, indexing it in your fingers, pushing the gun out, and shooting. The worst student, hands down, that I've ever had was a former Navy SEAL, and we were shooting low light as necessary as part of a night fighter class. And so the guy was under nods, and when he went dry, he had to draw his pistol. He had a SIG 226R, but did not have a weapon mounted light. So he was using a flashlight, and how he was gripping and holding the pistol when he fired, the body of the flashlight was activating his magazine release. And we were in really, really bad, crappy winter conditions. It was raining. It was muddy. It was not a good time. But that doesn't mean that you get out of the drill. Drill's not over until you place 2 rounds on 2 pieces of BC steel at a distance of like 10 yards, like an entire C zone at 10 yards with your handgun after finishing the rifle portion. And this individual proceeded to take every loaded magazine that he had on his person, insert them into the gun, and then have them end up at the mud at his feet. And I am not a guy that will let somebody get out of a drill. I'm a stay in the fight. Let's fix that malfunction. Let's make this a learning point. I don't care if everybody else did this drill in 28 seconds and it takes you 328 to do it. We're going to do it. And his performance was so fucking pathetic that I had to stop him. He's the only person I've ever stopped during a drill because he was just so pathetic. And like the enemy should have just walked up to him and put their gun to his forehead and executed him and put him out of his misery. He was such a pathetic fuck. But he had some flashlight techniques apparently that he needed to run through. So yeah, might want to know how to hold on to your flashlight and not dump the last 3 magazines that are going to save your life into 3 inches of mud at your feet in the dark because you suck, because you're a fuck, because you're a horrible human being. Whatever. Tom says he likes that new Geisley trigger. Yeah, Shooter Symposium last year, because I was doing only nighttime stuff. This is Tom saying he can't imagine Bill and I together. Yeah, last year at Shooter Symposium, I want to sell stuff, but they were like, whatever, get in your corner night vision guy. And I get it. There's a lot of dudes who their kind of functional area is teaching handgun also. So I just AI'd for for Bill and just was out there because of that student instructor ratio that we were talking about. But it's Bill's class, so I just kind of only interjected when it was appropriate, when he asked me to, or whatever. Certainly wasn't. That's one of the things about Bill and I is we're both competent enough in our stuff that there's not a lot of showboating and stepping on each other's toes and things like that when we come together to teach. So, and Bill has borrowed some uh, pistol shooting stuff from me along the way, and I absolutely attribute some of the transitional work from strong hand to weak hand only to stuff that Bill has shown me. I show the way that I do it, and then I also show the way that Bill prefers to pass the gun from hand to hand as well. So um, always a good time on the range with Bill, but that ain't gonna happen this year. As far as uh, you know, it's it's going to be a much busier, bigger symposium, and I don't believe that I'm going to have the time. I will probably be asleep. So they want me to do full 8-hour night classes. So I think last year it was only like 3 hours or whatever. So I'm going to be doing full cycle of dark, asleep during the day. Bill's also doing night vision stuff this year, so I don't even know if Bill's doing a daytime pistol at all either. So I think Bill and I will both be sleeping during the day when all of you guys are training, and we won't really be around to help Jared or any of the other guys during the daytime. Annika Frank, yeah, as soon as we get done with this live section and I hit submit, it will upload the final video to the same link. You'll be able to go back and start it from the beginning. Tom saying it doesn't pay to be back out of the overhang when I'm doing a class. Uh, well, Matt V's asking how I like the LAMG. I love it. Um, the Stoner LMG was in existence when I rode like 3 of them, and no production line. They had nothing. But I was like, man, maybe I can get industry to up their game. So I wrote the requirement. Knight stepped up. Once they saw that the government had the original LMG was 12 pounds, and they shaved that sucker down. The 5.56 version is coming in sub 10 now. So, I've seen the gun before. I haven't had a lot of time to just play around with it on the range though, and it is what I had envisioned in my mind when I wrote that requirement. So that's kind of cool to see my idea get validated and then industry to step up and for it to kind of come full circle. And Knights might not be the only company out there, y'all, that has decided to chase that capability. There could be some other stuff out there that y'all haven't seen yet. That doesn't mean it's going to be better than Knights. Doesn't mean that Knights is going to be the best. I don't know, but for what I wanted a assault machine gun to be able to do in both 5.56 and 7.62, which was essentially to replace the SAW, the Mark 46, and the Mark 48 with more capable platforms that are reduced weight. I think Knights has hit it out of the ballpark. So. You can now, this comment section, guys talk about dieting and whatever, joints and carrying extra weight, all that stuff that, said, I ain't all about virtue signaling on the diet or whatever. My desire to try to be more functionally healthy that's a personal journey. That's not a marketing tool or whatever. So I'm just not gonna talk about it very much. Fisher's streaming on Instagram. He's going live on Instagram, and it's probably got a better pass-through rate or whatever. This thing's recording so that it'll be available for posterity. And I knew that driving on a major highway like 95, that I was going to get some lags as I was dropping from a panel and getting picked up by another panel. Still looking, guys. Still looking. Looking for questions amongst y'all's BSing while the feed got hung up. Josh is asking, breaking your draw stroke down to get you faster. Yes, it can help with your. It can help. Part of it is getting a proper presentation. So if you're having trouble finding the dot or whatever, doing some press outs is cool, but you've got to start your press out from exactly where your hands are going to end up locking the gun in anyway. Because if you start cheating towards the holster and you're actually doing a press out up to center line and then forward, because you're cheating towards the holster, which will save you time. Then all of your repetitions where you're right here locked in the sternum and pushing straight out like that, those repetitions do not transfer over to what you're actually doing, presenting the gun from the holster. So that's my only concern about breaking the integrated active firing down in smaller bite-sized pieces from going for the gun all the way through till breaking the shot. If those segments don't immediately and seamlessly tie into one another, if they're offset, then every rep that you're doing that's not what you're actually doing is locking in something else other than what you should actually be doing. So if you have a consistency of draw, then to a presentation point, then presentation reps will matter. If you're having a defeat retention problem, then yes, you can practice from interview position, from hands at your sides, from surrender position, from fighting position, from rifle position. All of that is involving fast twitch muscles, getting your hand down, and then indexing the firearm and your retention properly. So all of those reps are going to help you with ALS defeat. You just need to choose which one you want to be the fastest at and practice that one the most. Consistency of the gun on your hip matters a lot when it comes to dry fire and that type of stuff. So you don't want to take your duty belt and stick it on Ranger panties while wearing Ranger panties and a fucking t-shirt after going to work out, because that's going to be a completely different draw stroke than padded combat pants with a sub belt. So you need to jock up your waist, however that's going to be, and make sure that when you're putting that belt on, that you're adjusting that belt around your body to where the holster is dropping off the exact same spot, because that's where building up those neural pathways is coming from, is getting that hand down to the same place on your body every single time. And if you start moving the gun around in between range sessions, you're going to lock in 30 or 40, 50, 100 reps with the gun at a spot where the gun's not going to actually be when you're doing it for duty. And if the gun ain't there, then you can't get a high index grip on the backstrap. And you can't get your thumb depressing the ALS, because the backstrap and the ALS ain't where your hand's going, where those neural pathways are that you built up. So, something to think about. Joseph, I talked about the night fighter earlier on. If it was, if you missed it while I was cut out or whatever, I do not think that there will be a gun built by SHOT Show. We were dealing with very, very real constraints about getting the frames built and the serial numbers approved by the ATF. So I know that the first 10 or 15 we're in the hopper, and that Joe has at least a couple of those. So I would assume that the Night Fighter is being built now, the first couple, but we will see. Evil Tribble is asking about minimum standards that you should work towards to be able to go to a no-fill pistol class. You got to take somebody else's gun class. You got to. If you're a self-taught pistol shooter, then you need to go. You need to go to Bill's class or Reston's class or Fish's class, Broco's class, like any of the ones where they are gonna like lock down the fundamentals of shooting, like how to stand, how to hold the gun, how to aim the gun, like that type of stuff. Jedi's class is kind of like my class in that it is he's teaching tweaks to basic fundamentals that you should already know that you might not be doing to provide you almost instant mechanical advantage. How to present the gun, how to draw, how to defeat your cover garment, a lot of that stuff. That's not the same as teaching grip, stance, sight alignment, sight picture, follow through. Like all of the fundamentals. All right, I'm back with you guys. I'm not teaching, the fundamentals of marksmanship in sequence. Then you're not going to fall behind in a no-fail class. If you are shooting 59 on a bolt, then you probably need to go to somebody else's class and sort through some of the causal reasons why while you're shooting that low, and then get the dry fire, the instructional of that course, followed by dry fire on your own and live fire at your home range to lock in those techniques that you were taught into your neural pathways, and then come on out for no fill. All right. That's all I got. We're at 2 hours and 10 minutes. I'm sure I'm paying for this data at some point, but fortunately, Verizon hasn't throttled me yet, so that's good. That is good. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. I've got some business I got to take care of. People need some emails, classifiers, ammo shipping information, like all the stuff that makes press check classes actually happen. I'm going to need to go take care of. Glad this worked. I knew it was going to time out a couple times, but it actually worked better than I thought it was going to work. So that's kind of cool. I'll talk to you guys later, and got the vehicle build coming up when I come back. 4Runner's going to start getting dropped off at shops, and stuff is going to start getting bolted onto it. Obviously, you guys will see it here first. I'll be doing some video walk-arounds or whatever. I think I'm going to take some Patreon contribution and buy one of those DJI Osmodo, whatever. It's basically the gimbal off the DJI drone, and they put it on a little handheld thing, and it does 4K at 60. That's nerd talk for video stuff. So I'll be doing some higher quality videos on the 4Runner walkthrough. That should show up better when you guys are watching this stuff on YouTube. They're going to take, I think, forever to upload rather than videoing them on medium quality on my cell phone. But I'll get some 4Runner videos, the vehicle walkarounds, hopefully in 4K, so you guys can watch this stuff at home on your big screen and hopefully have a little bit better quality. For those of you that are going to SHOT, I will see you guys at SHOT. We'll definitely do a Q&A before I punch out for SHOT Show. Do another one of these. So get the questions ready. Have some requests for some stuff. This is a secret, because the bottom line is Overwatch hasn't even decided if they want to do this yet. I forgot to cover that during the bad part of it. They're one deep on their stippling and grip department. It took over 10 man hours per gun to make these with their only stipple guy. So if they're charging $75 an hour labor with zero profit and markup, that's a $750 grip job that you see me holding in my hands right now. So there are ideas that are great. They just can't be mass produced. And so we're still looking into, from a design standpoint, how to reduce production time on this to make it available to you guys at a cost and capability that is not insane. And if they're like, hey man, the cost is gonna be $1,000 and that's what it's gonna be. Well, I know that I ain't gonna get rich, off of 5% royalty or 2% royalty or whatever, when there's only 5 people in the country a year that are going to be willing to have that grip modification done. So that's why I haven't released this out to the internet. I am looking for alternate ways to get that capability without a slip-on rubber piece like Warren has done, or permanent modification to your weapon. But I'm hitting a lot of brick walls.
Skybird, this is Dropkick with a red tag.
All right, I got to roll, guys.
Skybird, this is Dropkick with a red